Alright, so now let's continue with 5.3, that is types of risk. Okay, so risk ada dua jenis type, that is systematic risk or unsystematic risk. Systematic risk ni also known as non-diversifiable risk or market risk. So apa itu systematic risk? Systematic risk are those risks that cannot be diversified occurring due to macroeconomic factors and which is beyond the control of a specific industry or an individual. So systematic risk ni ialah risk yang tak boleh dikawal. It is outside of the control of the company. Itulah systematic risk. So contoh systematic risk pula kita boleh bagikan dia into interest rate risk, market risk, purchasing power risk, exchange risk and political risk. Inilah contoh-contoh untuk systematic risk. So apa itu interest rate risk? Interest rate risk is the fluctuation in the value of an asset as a result of the change in interest rates. Itulah interest rate risk. For example, if the interest rate rise, the price of fixed income securities would fall and vice versa. Itulah interest rate risk. You will refer pada page 216. Dia explain purchasing power risk, interest rate risk, exchange risk. Okay. So purchasing power ni pula dia kata is the possibility that the investor will receive a lesser amount of purchasing power that was originally invested. Example dia, during inflation, a bondholder would receive a lower return. Itu maksudnya purchasing power risk. Alright, so systematic risk ni is loss associated with entire market or segment. It is uncontrollable, impacts almost all securities in the market, and can only be controlled using methods like hedging and asset allocation. Okay. And to measure the systematic risk, we use the beta coefficient. So beta coefficient akan digunakan untuk measure systematic risk. Itulah systematic risk. Dia non-diversifiable risk dan juga dia lah market risk. Dia tak boleh dikontrol. Okay. Next kita pergi pada unsystematic risk. Unsystematic risk ataupun known as diversifiable risk or unique risk. Firm specific risk and hence impacts the price of individual stock rather than affecting the whole. Ni dia efek satu segmen je. Kalau systematic tu dia impact whole, all securities in the market. Okay, so kita ada 3 sources of unsystematic risk, that are business risk, liquidity risk and default risk. Ni pun ada dalam page 217. So business risk tu dia cakap is the risk that the firm will have general business problems. This risk depends on the change in demand for the firm's products, input prices and technology obsolescence. Itulah business risk. General business problem. Okay, so kalau liquidity risk pula, ialah risk that an asset may not be sold. Itu ialah liquidity risk. Asset may not be sold on short notice for its market value. So, in other words, it is the risk of not being able to convert the asset into the cash. Itu maksud liquidity risk. Third ialah default risk. Default risk is the possibility that the issuing company will be unable to make interest payments or principal repayments on debt. It is independent of economic, political and other factors that affect all securities in a systematic manner. Okay, so ada 3 sources of unsystematic risk: business risk, liquidity risk and default risk. Okay, So example of unsystematic risk include labor strike, shortage of raw material, shortage of specific skilled labor, lawsuit, a new competitor. Okay, ini semua dalam buku lah. Kalau blackout ke, ni semua contoh-contoh unsystematic risk. Kalau contoh untuk systematic risk ialah economic downturn, inflation, political, nature disaster. Itu yang kita tak boleh control. Ini dia suka juga tanya dalam you punya part A lah. Okay, so make sure you kena identify, you kena tahu bezakan between systematic and unsystematic risk. So next, let's move to the risk and diversification. So what is the meaning of diversification? Diversification means to spread the investment over a range of investment instrument in order to minimize or eliminate unsystematic risk but not the systematic risk. Inilah diversification. Sebabkan kita ada risk, so untuk minimizekan risk kita akan buat diversification. Tetapi diversification ni hanya akan eliminate the unsystematic risk, not the systematic risk. Systematic risk kita kena buat hedging and asset allocation. Itu cara nak minimize the systematic risk. So apa maksud diversification ni? Maksudnya okay, kita ada duit, so kita spreadkan dia. Okay, kita pergi invest into bond, dan kita pergi invest into stocks. Kita ada simpan sikit dalam cash kita and various alternative. Kita tak ambil, contoh gaji kita ada 5,000 tu kita pergi invest dalam stock. Tak. Itu kita tak diversify. Maksudnya kalau stock A tu, contoh kita invest 5,000 dalam stock A, kesemua duit kita dalam stock A, tiba-tiba stock A tu harga dia menurun. So you akan mengalami kerugian yang sangat tinggi. You will have high risk. Tapi kalau you ada 5,000 and then okay, 1,000 kita masuk stock A, 1,000 lagi kita masuk dalam bond B, 1,000 lagi kita masuk dalam money market, 1,000 lagi kita masuk dalam stock C. Okay, so contoh stock A meningkat tapi bond you menurun. So itu you telah pun diversifykan you punya risk. Mungkinlah stock ini you mengalami keuntungan, so bond B tu mengalami kerugian sedikit. Overall, you dah pun minimizekan you punya risk. Itulah maksud diversification. So diversification effect ni pula, dia akan, so effect dia akan reduce overall risk. Dan kita boleh tengok correlation between returns and investment. So ada 3 jenis lah correlation kita boleh tengok daripada diversification kita buat. First, it may be positive correlation. Second, negative or zero correlation. So apa maksud positive correlation? Maksudnya you refer pada page 219. Okay, you tengok graph A tu, perfect correlation. Maksudnya stock A dan juga stock B dia naik. Bila harga dia naik, dua-dua naik. Bila dua-dua turun, bila harga stock A turun, harga stock B pun turun. Itu maksudnya perfect positive correlation. Tetapi ini tak nak bagus lah kalau kita ada positive correlation, sebab kita nak buat diversification ni maksudnya bila stock A tu menurun dengan harapan stock B kita menaik. Itu baru kita boleh minimizekan kita punya risk. So kita sebenarnya kita nak perfect negative correlation. Yang graph B tu, nampak tu? Bila harga A naik, harga B turun. Bila harga stock B menaik, harga stock A menurun. Itu maksudnya negative correlation. Kita nak macam ni sebenarnya. Itulah motif kita buat diversification. So, negative correlation is the best portfolio untuk kita diversifykan kita punya risk. So, the last one, kita kita ada graph C tu, zero correlation. Bila ada zero correlationnya, maksudnya kita ada kaitan industri yang berbeza. Kita invest dalam industri yang berbeza. Bila kita invest dalam industri yang berbeza, so kita tak akan dapat any positive or negative relationship lah. Kita akan ada zero correlation. Okay, tengok tu stok A, data je harga dia. Stok B, kita invest dalam industri makanan kan. Industri makanan ada naik turun. So industri apa yang A mendata je. So dia tak correlate each other. So inilah diversification effect. So lastly, kita akan tengok kepada relationship between risk and return. So as we know, the higher the risk, the higher the return. That is the relationship between risk and return. The lower the risk, the lower the return. Itulah. So that's all untuk chapter 5. So chapter 5 ni akan masuk dekat mana? Dia akan masuk part A and part B. Okay, part A dia akan masuk teori lah. And then part B, calculation part. So dia suka tanya bahagian mana? Dia suka tanya diversification ni tak sangat. Ni suka tanya types of risk, banyak dalam part A. And then dia suka suruh you kira CV. Sebab dengan dia suruh you kira CV, you akan kira everything lah. You akan kira standard deviation as well as variance and expected return. Risk averse ni pun ada juga, pernah juga ditanya. Meaning of risk, yes. Expected return, required return jarang, tapi pernah juga ditanya untuk kira, tapi jarang. HPR pun ada sekali kot. So itulah chapter 5, risk and return. Okay, thank you and have a nice day.